Just on that same vein, in that story with ESPN, you talked about wanting to protect young girls who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Just can you expand your viewpoint on that?
I mean, I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children. And that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I always believe that.
No surprise here from Indiana Fever role player Sophie Cunningham.
Let's just pull back a little. At first it was well, nobody likes women's sports and nobody wants to watch it. Or there was, abuse happening and nobody seemed to care. Now all of a sudden we're going to use a vulnerable group of people in the trans community to be oh, well, we're just protecting women's sports and we care so much about it. When the Heritage Foundation is now going to go after Title IX. So is it about reproductive rights, or is it about just women's rights in general? We're seeing the rollback of Roe v. Wade. Marriage equality, I feel is getting put back on the table. That was settled law. And so all of these things, yes, they're going after trans people in sports, and they're using this as a wedge issue because we love sports and, we don't want our little girls to be unsafe in sports. And it's unsafe from who? But okay.
She'd get dismantled by someone who actually understands the drummed up issue. Megan Rapinoe.
Do you see your advocacy on that, taking any form going forward?
I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs. I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future, it's just really important to protect.
Because what Cunningham is doing is giving in to messaging from Riley Gaines and the far right. It's gross.
But now we're using this as an overarching thing, when really what we're attacking women. We're saying, if you look like this as a woman, you can play. If you look like this as a woman, there's a bill in Washington happening right now that's going to require all girls, just full stop, to go through a sex test, an invasive, examining their genitals to see if they're a woman.
She's absolutely right. But for Sophie...
Do you think, I guess along the line, that it goes against perhaps... Some people might say, hey, for the trans community, this could be something that could come back on us or be targeted against us. How do you, view that sort of critique?
Like I said, I extend love, and I don't dislike anyone. I think there is room for absolutely everyone here, and I think there's room to love everyone. And I truly think when you get people in the same room and you have conversations, you actually have a lot in common with a lot of people. And so I'm there to love, but I'm also there to love biological women.
If one can read between the lines, you know how gross this is.
We know what that means. Black girls are going to get questioned more, and they're going to get questioned first. Who's doing the examinations? They're going to see a pullback. They don't like women in sports because it helps us with confidence and power. And we see so many women in the C-suite played elite level sports. It's just great for you physically and all of it. But it's an attack on women in society. And I think the tie between the Heritage Foundation now wanting to go after Title IX, it's just so blatant. Let's connect these dots. It's more than just a couple of trans kids in the entire country and a couple in each state being able to participate in some youth sports.
Yeah.
She is so unbelievably good at this. Important context to all of this and where these questions derive from was an ESPN interview she gave recently. First, shout out to Hallie Grossman for writing this piece and putting it in print. Here's the paragraphs. You say she's a MAGA Barbie, as some corners of the internet have taken to calling her projection, she says, because of what she looks like and where she's from. That's not true. She'll weigh in on how to protect women's sports, she says, because she's in that world and feels qualified to speak to that world. Quote, I got a lot of negative feedback about me hating trans, and I'm like, I never once said that. I think that I am here to extend love, but I also think with that love is truth. Being honest, and I want to protect young girls in a locker room or young girls in sport who shouldn't have to go against biological men. But she also insists that none of this is some Rosetta Stone to unlocking the true nature of her political worldview. She would then say this, I'm very much in the middle. I agree with things on both sides, disagree with things on both sides, and that's all I've ever said about my political beliefs, but people love to assume. This, by the way, is also very noteworthy. She follows Turning Point USA, the white supremacist movement founded by Charlie Kirk. In turn, to the surprise of no one, she also supports Riley Gaines. The defector would write of the Indiana Fever player, the criticism Cunningham does respond to in this piece is only ever hypothetically voiced. Why might I delight in Sophie Cunningham? Why might I decry her? Why might people love her or really freaking hate her? What's going on here at the center of all of this? Once you get past the noise, a profile owes its reader that grounding. And this one can't provide it. Unmentioned are Cunningham's reposts of anti-trans activist Riley Gaines or her genuinely fascinating history with former Mercury teammate and Zoran supporter Natasha Cloud, who has said she tried to have hard dialogue with Sophie about her politics. We'll get to that momentarily, okay? Cunningham is heartened by the fans who look up to her and see in them a model of bravery and loyalty to teammates. She would say, in a world full of bullies, be a Sophie is a message she's heard. And she would say, you know what? Heck yeah. Last paragraph. What Cunningham has bravely chosen to be is a straight blonde woman with tenuous political commitments. If this constitutes courage, some congratulations are in order at my Pilates class. The cross she bears for being Sophie, for refusing to fit in a box, is an SI swimsuit cover, an Adidas sneaker colorway, working as an analyst on USA Network. The box must be pretty big. Forget its contemporary trappings, memes, the attention economy, judgments hastened by the internet. And this story is an old one. A woman responds straightforwardly to incentives, then applauds herself for doing so. It's a world of bullies and a world of Sophies too. With Natasha Cloud, now with the Chicago Sky. They were former teammates in Phoenix and friends. Neither of these things still exist.
Happy Sunday, everybody. I'm about to go on my rant because my biggest pet peeve is hypocrisy, but especially on Sundays. If y'all went to church today and upon leaving that church, you still oppose SNAP benefits to our most marginalized communities, you are a hypocrite. If you left church today and don't want universal health care for our most marginalized communities, you are a hypocrite. If you left church today and you are still calling for the deportation of human beings on stolen land, you are a hypocrite. If you are still complicit in genocides around the world, you are a hypocrite. Because that is not the teachings of God. That is not the teachings of Jesus. Jesus was the most radical being, period, that served and even cleaned the feet of the most marginalized. What is wrong with y'all? Stop going to church.
She is an outspoken advocate and just awesome.
We have an issue in this country. Not only white supremacy, we also have a gun violence issue. And this is us using our platform, right? This game doesn't matter. The 18 lives that were lost today from senseless gun violence in Texas at an elementary school. We're talking about our kids not being safe to go to school. And our government is still not implementing sensible gun laws.
She's also very politically aware. Net positive, by the way, on society. At one point, she'd tweet, white players are passionate and competitive. Black players are classless thugs. It's reckless narratives that continue to divide us. I'm riled up after a phenomenal Final Four because y'all are just sick, blank individuals. And even spilled some tea on her fraught relationship with Sophie Cunningham.
I tried to have open dialogue. I tried to have hard dialogue with her. And it is what it is. What you vote for this election, we're going to see. But my life depends on it. And if that don't matter to you, you can't tell someone you love them and then vote against their life.
And that, my friends, could not be more well put. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.